Hi friends, so welcome to Python video tutorials. So in this video today we are going to discuss about Python data types. So previous video we have started with the introduction to Python, how to use the Databricks for learning purpose and how to create a community edition plus introduction to variable and print statement format string. So these are also very important when it comes to PySpark. And the next one is Python data types. So we'll be working in primarily data projects. So data projects means data warehousing and storing data in databases, data lakes. So it may be Delta Lake or Snowflake or Synapse Analytics and PySpark. So PySpark also is having data types. Then databases also is having data types. Then why we need to know Python data types? Yes, obviously we need to think about this. Why? Because when you're working in PySpark, so PySpark also will have a data types. Databases also will have a data types. Then why we should know Python data types? Why? Because so when you're working in structured data, obviously it's not required, but directly we can store data in a database table and we can use and we can query and we can process. So, but sometimes we may get different types of data, unstructured and semi-structured data, and for transformation purposes, so transformations and validation purposes, so we may need to store some values, constant values, okay, maybe single value or more than one value. So that time we should use a Python, core Python. So that's why we should know about more Python data types as well. So Python also supports different types of data where we can store in Python. Those all are numeric data types. If you look at this, integer, float, and complex data name. So complex data also we can store. That is a complex numbers, like electrical engineering related data, and primarily when you're working with machine learning. So machine learning also sometimes will get a complex numbers. Okay, and mathematical related numbers also will get a complex number. So Python also supports complex numbers. String data, single quote, double quote, triple quotes, which we can store data in string. That's called string data type. And when it comes to collections, that's called data structures. You can call it as a data structures or collections where we can store more than one value. So numeric and string only single valued. Single valued means it will store as entire string format. But if we have a requirement to store more than one value individually, so that is called items. We will call it as items or rows. Okay, in database we will call it as rows. In applications or maybe programming language, you can call it as items. So if you want to store more than one item, okay, then we need a collection that is called data structures: list, tuple, range, set, frozen set, dictionary. So these all are multi-valued items, or you can say multi-item storage data types in Python. So those we can divide sequence type. Sequence type means where it will have indexes. So understand that sequence means it will have indexes. So indexes means positive numbers from 0 to n number. So those are list, tuple, range. So string also we can consider sequence type. Then binary type. So when you work with, primarily when you're working with encoded data or machine learning data, or primarily processing images, videos, audios, so that time we'll be using binary data. So for that requirement, we can use bytearray memory view. Then dictionary. So primarily when you're working with JSON data, so that time we may require key value pair. And whenever you are giving inputs also, most of the web-based projects and the data factory and the input parameters will be using JSON format. So for that we can use dictionary data type. Storing true or false, there is a boolean values, bool data type we can use, and set data type similar to data without indexes, that is called data set. So data set here, one of the set and frozen set, two types of data types Python is providing. So we'll understand one by one and we'll see exactly how it will store, and we'll verify the data types as well. So go to Databricks Community Edition, which we previous session I created this and I shown how to use this. There, go to tutorial. The second one is Python data types. So here I have listed all types of data types: string, integer, float, complex numbers, list, tuple, range, dictionary, set, frozen set, bool, bytes, bytearray, and memory view. So first we'll start with range data. So range is a function, but it will store as a type called a range type. So range is a function and it will generate a sequence numbers. It will generate a sequence numbers and more than one value obviously, and it will store as a type called range. Let's verify that. The syntax will be like this: a range function, start value, stop value, then increment, that is called step. But second two are optional. So two are optional mean start value is optional, then step is optional. So only we need to give maximum value, that is called stop value, which we need to give. So default, if you're not giving start value, it will start from 0, and increment it will start as 1. This is default value, this is 1, and this is start value default, it's from 0. So let's create. So here already created. So v underscore range will start with range 10, then print v underscore range. Now if you look at this output, also it is giving range 0 comma 10. So as I told you, this is stop, whatever we are giving maximum value, and the default start value is 0. So that's why it is this range. It is created as an object. It is created as an object and start with 0 and the maximum is 10. You can verify type of this object. Its type is range. You can see this. Okay. Then how to print this values? How to use this? It is multi-valued item. So multi-valued and sequence. So sequence means multiple values. So we have to go with collection. So that is called list. So list can store more than one value. Now you can see this. The values are generated. It is start with 0 and 9. The maximum value always n minus 1. Remember this. When range is generating, the maximum value always n minus 1. That is if you are going with maximum value. I want to start with 5, then generate 20 values, increment by 2. So increment by 2 means 5 plus 2 7, 7 plus 2 9, like this till 19 it is generated. Till 19 it is generated. I want to generate increment by 5. So 5 plus 5 10, 10 plus 5 15, but 15 plus 5 20. But as I told you, this maximum value always n minus 1. Always it will consider as a n minus 1. So that's why here you can see only 3 values. This is called range. We can generate a sequence numbers. We can generate a sequence of numbers. That minimum value, maximum value, and increment. That increment is nothing but every time how much you are looking for increment. If I go with increment by 3, 5 plus 3 8, 8 plus 3 11, like this till 17. Then 17 plus 3 13, but sorry, 17 plus 3 20. So 20 is maximum. So always n minus 1 we need to consider that. This is about range. I can go with the 50, then it will generate 50 values. And this is iterable object. If you want to display the values, we have to use a collection or for loop. So for loop as of now we are not covered. So that's why we'll see that later, how to use for loop in range scenario. Then next, string data type. So string means whatever we are storing in single quotes, double quotes, triple quotes, it will consider as a string. The string more than one value, but everything it will treat as a single value. Single value means from starting to ending here. So that's why string also will consider as sequence data type. Let's verify that. V underscore string. This is sample string. Then print v underscore string. Just I'm creating one variable and printing that. Verify type of this. Verify type of this. It is str. Then use a single quotes. So I'm going to create in a single quote. See, it is also string. Then triple single quote. So triple single quote also it is considered as string. So when we will go with the triple single quotes or triple double quotes in more than one line, this is this string contains more than one line. Sample string. Now you see this. If I'm not using double quotes or triple quotes, if I go with only single quote, more than one line, it is treating as illegal scanning string literal. Why? Because if you are giving a string in more than one line, you can go with 3 double quotes or 3 triple quotes. 3 double quotes or 3 triple quotes. That is called string data type. So string data type will be created single quote, double quote, and 3 single quote or 3 double quotes also you can use when if your string is more than one line. Then so type anyway it is displaying type string. Then int, so integer values. So integer values anyway dynamically it will create. Let's see this. V underscore a, or you can say age 30, then print v underscore age. Now you see it is printing the value. I want to know the type of this object. Type it is integer, int. Okay, so this is about integer. Then float data type. Float data type which we can use a decimal point dividing the integer and factorial part. So if you are giving 20 dot maybe anything 44.55, then dynamically it will create a float data type. So whenever you use a print, it will display as a class float type. Okay, so directly if you are using a type of x, then float. So these all are single valued single items. This we will call it a single item only. Okay, float, integer, string, and range we can call it as multi-valued item because you can call it as, you can treat as a sequence also. Sequence type, list, tuple, range, string also sequence type. Why we will call this string also sequence type? And simple. So string you can go with index based. So you can go with index based mean. So here whatever it is storing, if I want to get particular index based, particular position based string value. So I want this value position, or you can say I want to retrieve only I. So you can go with index based. So that is called, so index Python indexes start from 0, 1, 2. So if I give it 2, I should get I. So if I give it 0, so 0 is the first position, index position, that is T. So that is called sequence. So string also sequence data type. Then next, another collection. So very important thing and frequently using in data engineering, that is list. So list, whenever we are creating list, we'll use square brackets, starting and ending with the square brackets, and it will allow more than one value, and list is mutable. Mutable means changeable. Ordered and changeable. Ordered and changeable means we can go with order, and changeable we can update, we can add, we can delete. And it will allow duplicate members, or you can say duplicate items. Each value we will call it as item in collection. Let's create a underscore list starting ending with. So starting ending with, if it is square brackets, it will create as a list. So let's verify the type. See here, square brackets, empty square brackets also, it will create a list. Then values. So you can go with the multiple values separated by comma. That is called items or members. This is one item, item 2, item 3, item 4. So list stores indexes. So it will have internal indexes. So start from 0. So if you are looking for get this, so directly it will display all the values. If you are looking for index based, then in square brackets we can give the index. So index 3. So index 3 is the fourth value. You will get fourth value. And it will allow multiple data types. So that is, I can give in string name1, name2. I can give boolean value, that is just true, false. Okay, so that is called list is a nested value item, nested, or we can say more than one value storage item. We can store more than one value, or you can say more than one items, and you can call it as a data structure or collection. So collection means where it can have more than one value. And the type also you see list. Starting and ending with, when you are creating starting and ending with square brackets, by default it will create Python list. Okay, so this you can say this. So this way we can create a Python list. We'll see more information about Python list in upcoming sessions. So I have created separate session for list. You can see this. Okay. Only we are understanding data types. Only we are understanding data types. So anything starting and ending with a square brackets, default it's considered as list. The next, tuple. So anything if we create in round brackets, it will treat as a tuple. Let's create a underscore tuple, only empty round brackets, type of this. See here, it's created tuple. So it will allow more than one values. So more than one value means like this. And it will allow, see here, tuple. Just print, see here. Starts and ends with the square bracket, round brackets, it will treat as Python tuple. And it is ordered. Ordered means it will have indexes, but immutable. So immutable means unchangeable. So tuple is a constant data item. So it will allow duplicate. It will allow duplicate, but it is immutable. If you are looking for immutable object, go for list. If you are looking for constant, that is called immutable, go for tuple. So how we will to create a tuple? Round brackets is tuple, square bracket is list. Then another one is dictionary. And very important thing, dictionary and sets. Both look similar, but when you look at the data, then you will get a clarity. Okay. So anything if you create curly brackets. So curly brackets, empty curly brackets, let's verify type of this. By default, empty curly brackets, it will create as dictionary. Dictionary means D-I-C-T, dictionary. This is dictionary. So dictionary, when you look at JSON data, it will be same. So when we are working with any cloud-based, web-based applications, nowadays most of the applications input parameters, arguments will be passing as JSON format. So that JSON format, the data type here it is dictionary. That is called key value pair data set. Key value pair data set, but empty curly brackets, it will create as dictionary. If I give any values separated by comma, then it will create as set, Python set. Remember, empty, it will create as dictionary. And if you are giving any values separated by comma, then it will create as set. So Python set also will allow more than one value, but no duplicate items. No duplicate items, no indexes, that is called unindexed, unordered data item is called Python set. Let's try. Create another 3, 3, 3, 5, 5, 5. Now if you look at the output, it won't raise any exception, but you see output, it is considering unique values. Why? Because it does not have indexes. So if you don't have indexes, that's why it won't allow, or it cannot store duplicate members, or you can say duplicate items. Now in this collections, list, tuple, set, range, then dictionary. List will go with more than one value. It will allow, it is indexed, ordered, and we can go with duplicates also. Tuple is a constant object. It will allow duplicates. It will have indexes, ordered one. Set won't allow duplicates, unordered, unindexed item. Range anyway sequence item, generating sequence numbers. Dictionary, let's see the dictionary. So this is about set. Anything starts and ends with curly brackets. In between you can go with each item separated by comma. It will allow only, it will store only unique values because it does not have indexes. So that's why unordered, unindexed, no duplicate members. Then what is dictionary then? Key value pair data set. So I'm using here. So indexes does not have here. Then I want to go with the identification based on index. So that is called, we can create our own key value pair. Key value pair mean where name colon then value. So this is comma age 30. So if I am creating like this, this is key colon value separated by comma. So that is called key value pair data. This is key then value. In between colon you can identify. So that is called key value pair data, normally JSON data. So how it will store? It will store as a key value pair, and we can retrieve key value pair based, and the type, if you verify this type of this, we are using curly brackets, it is called dictionary. Key value pair data. So dictionary is a collection which is unordered, changeable and indexed. Unordered but changeable. Changeable and index means that is called key and value. And here also it won't allow duplicate keys. Values it will allow. Duplicate keys means if I create the same thing, same name, same age again, let's print same as set, you can see why, because this keys it won't allow duplicates, but you can go with the keys, different keys. Values it will allow. Values means because this it will treat as different key, this it will treat as different key. So that is called key value pair data set. So go with the JSON, any JSON, Facebook JSON API data example. So when we are working with any social media data, okay, or web-based data, nowadays most of the APIs we are using JSON. So JSON format. So the JSON format, if you look at that, input data, see here, starts, ends with curly brackets and key value pair. This is key and value. That value may be single value, multi-valued. So dictionary will allow multi-valued as well. Single value means normal string data type, integer data type. Multi-values means collection, list. So like this we can go with list. So list also it will allow inside. This is a list, then two more values. So this is called dictionary. So now we covered list, tuple, set, range, dictionary. Then what is frozen set? When you look at this set data types, set is available, then what is frozen date? So when it comes to tuple is immutable, okay, but I want to create a set as immutable object, that is called frozen set. The name itself, you see this frozen set is a changeable, okay? But when it comes to frozen set is immutable. That is correct. So frozen set, so directly we cannot create, we have to construct using this function. Frozen set function we have to use, then it's an inbuilt function from Python. The set, whatever you are using a curly brackets data, we need to construct using this function. Then it will create as a object type called frozen set, and you can see this same set only, it is immutable object. It's a immutable object. Then set, normal set is mutable. We can add values. Frozen set is immutable. That's the only difference between set, frozen set. Mutability, immutability. And how to create a frozen set? So just we are constructing that, okay, using function called frozen set. Then bool. Bool is a data type. It is a common in any databases, any applications to store. So to store true or false. True or false means normally any application, any databases, if you want to store active, inactive, status information primarily, we will go with the bool data type. So if Python also supports that, but you should careful that. Why? Because it is not a string. So it's Python is a case sensitive language. True and false, it's init cap usual, initial cap. Okay. So when you declare a equal to false or b equal to true, it will treat as bool data type. If I go with the lowercase false, it will consider as a string, but normally string we should allow in a single quote. Otherwise, it will consider as an object. Object is not defined. That is called name. False is not defined. It is not a variable. So that's why true, false, Boolean value. Then 1, 0 also it will consider, that is the integers. When you use a conversion, it will consider as a true or false. Let's verify that. Number, there's a variable, I'm declaring 1, verifying, converting, this is type conversion I'm doing. So 1 it will treat as a true, 0 it will treat as false. Okay, YRN, true or false. Normally this is a common scenario where we'll go with the status fields in databases. So that's why Python also will consider, and true or false is a Boolean value, and 1 and 0 also when we are converting, it will convert as 1 is a true, 0 is false. Then next, byte binary data. So when it comes to encoded data, so different encoded algorithms are available. Like by default, it will use as UTF-8. You can go to wiki, UTF encoding 8. So default it uses this algorithm. Okay, we can change that. So 8-bit. This 8 means 8-bit. Like UTF-16 is available, UTF-32 is available. 8, 16, 32-bit, like this. So multiple bytes Unicode conversion algorithms is available. So we can use any of this, but default is UTF-8 encoding. And just wiki will give you more information about this. That's not wiki. Unicode characters. So comparison of Unicode encodings. And where is this? Yeah, here UTF-8, UTF-16, UTF-32, and different types also is available. Okay. To store encoded data, encode data in Python, that data type is called bytes data type. And for string, if you want to create a data type called byte, starts with B. So starts with B, then it will create dynamically based on data, bytes data type. You say this. B I gave, B then data, B and data. So bytes is immutable data set. Immutable data sets means once you create, you cannot edit that. Once you create, you cannot edit that. So if you want to edit this data, then we'll go with, there is another function called byte array. So byte array also is available. So same thing for integers. V underscore 55. Then print of bytes. See here. This is for integers. This is byte code for integers, and this is for string. So strings, it start with B, and for integers you see this. Same thing if I use string text. So when we are using a bytes, we have to, the default is encoding. So that encoding, which is UTF-8 is available, and we can specify different encoding as well. So different encoding means when we are using this, we need to specify encoding. So what we'll do, we'll give UTF-8. So UTF-8 and the default, which is UTF-8, and you can see it is converted as byte code. Then byte array. So byte is an immutable. So byte an immutable sequence type. So bytes also sequence type. Then bytes array. So bytes array is same as bytes, only the difference here it is mutable object. So mutable object means if you want to change that, if you want to change, you can go with byte array. Just I am going to create the same, and you can see the 14 value, the byte code, 14 value byte code. And if you want to change that, we can change. So because it is an also sequence type, if you want to change, we can change that. Let's create some string value or create some particular value. Let's 144. So yes, single item, it is in so if you look at this 144 index 1 I'm retrieving. Okay, index 0, so index 0, 0. So index 2, that is. Then I want to update that. So I want to update that. First we will remove this, then we'll display that. So this is about complete byte code. Then I want to update index 2, index 2, 3. Then we will retrieve index 2. So now you see it's coming. Okay, so we can go with using, which is byte array. So byte array primarily we can use for update. If you want to update, we can update because it is mutable object. If I go with only bytes, then if I want to update, it is saying that byte does not support item assignment. Byte does not support item assignment. Okay, actually it is encoded data, but directly just I have explained to update. Okay, normally what we will do for binary data, there is another function, or you can say another type called memory view. So primarily when you are working in machine learning, images, audio compression, videos, so that time these functions will be helpful. So whenever we are encoding and decoding data, and every time it will read the data and it will copy the data into temporarily for processing purpose. So instead of taking the data and then directly you can go to memory pool location and get that object, then update that. So that is called memory view. So when you look at this, Just I updated value, but there the value is here, it is there, it is encoded data, but I gave a value, just I gave updated as 3. So what we can do, memory view is another function where it can read original location of byte object, that is buffer pool location. So safely it will expose that location, then it will create an object, then we can update that value. We can update that value. Let's look at that. So bytes 5. So bytes 5 will be encoded and stored in memory. Then I'm using memory view. So create like this, v bytes 55. Okay. Then v underscore bytes mv or memory view. So mv means memory view. So this is for string, this is for string, and this is for integer. Okay. First we will use sorry, we need to convert into bytes, right? Because memory view only can read encoded data. So that you can see this. Only I will show this one. We'll understand first integer part. So now if you look at the type of this, so type of it is memory view. Then if I just print the value, so print the value means it will print the location, memory location. No, I want to know the exact value inside this bytes 55. Then use list, because sequence type, it is also sequence type. Now you can see this is the value. Okay. So just I'm using a different value. So this is called internal values. So same thing if I go with test. So Python. So Python, then we'll use the encoding UTF-8. Then you see this. So Python, it is encoded and it is storing as the values, these values. Let's verify this. UTF-8 in Unicode characters. UTF-8 Unicode character values. Wiki. So which one? Python P. So lowercase p, verify that value. Let's go down here. Lowercase. This is uppercase. Lowercase p. So that p is 112. You see this 112. Y means that encoded value. Y here it is 121. 121. Then T like this, you can see that Python encoded values. So we are able to retrieve that information directly from memory. That is called buffer full using a function, or you can say type called memory view. So memory view primarily it will help you if you have a huge audio or image files or video files. If you want to edit or if you want to change, normally if you are changing, what will happen, it will fetch, then it will copy, then you can change the data. Instead of that, directly you can update the data. But if it is a byte is immutable, so you cannot change. Let's try that. So in this index 0, so index 0 means 112. So 112 means Python p. I want to update wherever p is there. First one, index 0 p, I want to update as we'll go with G 122. Okay, we'll go with 122 Jaitan. Okay, next list mb, but this is bytes. So cannot modify a read-only memory. Cannot modify a read-only memory. So byte array. So byte array is mutable. Now it is updated. 122 it is updated. Okay. Now whatever it is there, now we'll verify this. Now you can see 122. So 122, that value, here it is. It is updated as G. So directly we updated physical location using with the help of memory view. So memory view, primarily when we are working with the machine learning, audio binary data, primarily binary data, this will help you on that. That is called memory view function returns a memory view object from a specified object. Okay, that is called a memory view is a safe way to expose the buffer pool in Python. And it allows you to access the internal buffers of an object by creating a memory view object. So directly we are accessing that internal location values. So if you want to update that byte data, bytes are immutable. So that's why we're not able to update. Then we are going with byte array. So byte array is mutable. Mutable means which we can update the values. So this is about different types of data types. The last one is complex. Complex integers, primarily when we are working with mathematical machine learning, primarily machine learning and data science, mathematical data, or you can say electrical engineering. So those type of data, if you want to store, we can use a Python data type called complex numbers. So when it comes to complex numbers, it will have a two parts, imaginary part and real part. And other languages ends with I, but in Python is used as J. Simple. How to create a complex data type in Python? Your real number plus imaginary part. So imaginary parts ends with J. In other languages, it will be I. Okay, it will be I. So let's verify that. So the 10 is a real number and 55J, that is imaginary part. So imaginary part, if you look at this. And to retrieve individual values, to retrieve v underscore complex. So 1 plus 2j. So verify the type of this, type of v underscore complex. It is complex data type. It is complex data type. And when you are looking, I want to retrieve only real part or I want to retrieve imaginary part. So Python also is having separate function called, just use a print. So print means total. Total. So if you are looking for real, use real function is available to retrieve real value. Imaginary part, IMAG. So that is imaginary part 2.0. So this way we can go with storing complex integers in Python. Okay, in other languages, the imaginary part will be I, in Python it will be J. So these are different types of data types, and only one thing is missing, date and timestamp. So Python will have a separate class called datetime and time, class called datetime and time. So using this class, we can create an object to import current time, that is datetime.datetime.now. We can import and we can create a current system time. It will import current system time. You see this. And type also you can see datetime.datetime. And to convert in different formats. So every database will have a to timestamp, to date, like this. So here also strftime is a function where we can convert and we can extract individual values, year, month, date, hours, minutes, seconds. So like this, using this strftime function, and different options are available. Different options are available. This is very heavy topic, and this is common. And if you have any requirement, refer this document. Okay. First, I will give a few examples. You will get more idea. So I'm going to create one data, today's date variable. So that variable, I want to retrieve year, month. Like this, separate functions are available. To get only year, you can use dot year, only month, only day, or changing the format, that is using strf time, we can use options. So percentage a, uppercase a, lowercase a. So uppercase a means month complete spell out, sorry, day complete spell out, and first three characters, and day, and b is a month complete spell out, lowercase first three characters. Same thing for hours. So which I mentioned all everything here. Weekday, particular day, complete spell out is uppercase, lowercase first three characters. Then week number, the day 0 to 6. Same thing for month, full spell out or first three characters. Then hours, 24 format or 12 format. Then AM and PM, percentage P. Minutes, uppercase M, seconds, uppercase S. So like this, these are options which we can use for date using datetime class. So we need to import this. That is, especially we are creating the type. So by default, date, it will consider as a string if you are giving in Python. So that's why we will be using this class in core Python. But PySpark is different. So PySpark will have a separate data type called time, so timestamp and date. That time we will cover that. So this is about complete Python data types. So these three are primarily when you are working in machine learning and encoded data, you will be using this machine learning and primarily image processing, audio processing, video processing, and encoded data. Then you can use this. And frozen set, these are our collections. We'll be using more list. List is commonly used in PySpark data engineering projects. And dictionary is common for parameters defining more than one values or defining more than one parameters, passing parameters, or you can say in a JSON format, that is called dictionary. And integer, string, float are common. And when you are working in primarily electrical engineering data, semiconductors data, machine learning, math related data, then that time you may require to use complex data type. These are different data types supported by Python. Different types of data types supported by Python. And next video, what we will do, we will go individually. Individually means what is list, what is tuple, what is set, what is dictionary, plus conditions for loop. The next video is first, before going to collections, we need to understand if statement, and same thing for loops also. So looping and if statements also will understand. Then we'll move to collections. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you very much.